Well, yeah, and I mean, this brings up another question. It ties into something we've spoken a lot about. How much of this case and the verdict of it, this is basically, it all goes back to that 2016 election, which the left lost their minds over and are still obviously not over. How much of this is kind of a revolt of the elites against ordinary Americans?
Oh, it's entirely that. And, people on the right tend to think that, this is all coordinated. Joe Biden is giving directives to the Justice Department and, to the Russiagate hoax and here and there, and that it's all sort of coming from the top. The truth is actually much more sinister, which is that each of these district attorneys and judges and people in the deep state and people in professional jobs have main character syndrome coupled with elite class solidarity. And that is what you're really seeing here. Alvin Bragg is the perfect example of this. Nobody told him to do that, I don't think. I just don't think that happened because I don't think that was necessary, James. And the truth is actually much more dangerous for our country, which is that there are all of these self-appointed little Eichmanns, sitting there thinking that it is their job to personally rid this country of the person who represents the working class, because it is a revolt of the working class against the elites. That's what Donald Trump represents. And so you have all of these people who are behaving in a coordinated, zombified way against him, but it comes down to class solidarity of the elites against the everyman.
Well, this is a fascinating thing, too, because before the verdict came down, we saw this amazing scene where Robert De Niro, who's played a lot of everyman characters but is filthy, stinking rich, he launched a tirade against Donald Trump outside the hush money court this week. Have a look at this.
Donald Trump wants to destroy not only the city, but the country, and eventually he could destroy the world.
I mean, this level of hysteria, A, that he's going to destroy the world, but B, why is it that the Democrats and the left, somebody said this to me earlier this week, they said, why do they always go for celebrities? It feels like they're really talking down to ordinary Americans when they do this.
It's so amazing because the trajectory of that Robert De Niro appearance was the trajectory of the Democrats, right? He starts out acting like he is the hero of the everyman when in fact he is unbelievably wealthy. He then proceeds to lecture them that they should choose his preferred candidate and that the preferred candidate of the American working class is a danger to this country, when the truth is it's a danger to him and his wealth. And then when they don't like it, right, there were all of these New Yorkers yelling at him and honking their horns and fighting with him. He then just descends into screaming and name calling and finally just starts saying F you, F you, F you, which is, of course, what the Democrats have done, right? They started out pretending to be the champions of labor, right? They then oversaw this massive class divide and massive income inequality to where they became the party of the rich and the educated and abandoned the working class. And when the working class refused to simply take it lying down and found a champion for themselves in Donald Trump, the Democrats called them deplorables, basically cursed them out, said, screw you, right? We're going to take him down by any means necessary.
So, Batya, I got to ask this question then. Given all of that, given the way the classes are sort of realigning in America, and given the very political nature of this prosecution, I mean, seriously, business records from nearly a decade ago being jimmied with, I mean, honestly, has Trump actually wound up with this verdict secured his chances at re-election?
I didn't see how he could lose before the verdict, and it's even harder to see that now. I mean, anything is possible. We're still, 4 months out or what have you. He hasn't picked a VP yet. We don't know who he's going to pick as a running mate. anything could happen. But his website is crashing right now. It's not accepting more donations because so many people are rushing to donate. I know people were reaching out to me and saying, I've never once voted, I'm voting for him, or I've never voted for a Republican, I'm voting for him, or I was lukewarm on him and now I would go to the ends of the earth to vote for this man. People understand that if he simply packed up and went home and said, I'm no longer running for president, all of these problems would go away. And yet he still shows up day after day after day. I mean, I think that really means something to people.
Batya Ungar-Sargon, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your insights on this very historic day. We're going to come back and talk to you again in the weeks to come.